Shut up and sit down.
Welcome to Square Read Podcast, everybody, episode number 31. As always, we have the classics heavyweight champ, Jim, the Big Texan Hoffarth. We have the two-time consecutive Bruiser Brody Cup winner, Bobby D, and our special guest, the president of the Allied Federation, or the Allied Independent Federation Association. Did I say it right now?
I think your title is executive director, right?
Correct. I'm the executive director of the Allied Independent Wrestling Federations, the AIWF.
There you go.
Before we get going into your role in that federation, we want to know about you for a minute or so. How did you get involved in wrestling? Did you grow up watching wrestling?
Yeah, I grew up watching it. My dad was big time into it. He started taking me probably to independent shows since I was about 5 years old. I'm almost 40 now, so I mean I've been a fan a long time. And then eventually I got trained by Mr. Chief J. Eagle. He's a legend here in the Carolinas. He ran South Carolina for 35 years. He trained the one-man gang, and yeah, he's a good guy, good mentor.
All right, you kind of sped through that fast. We're going to break it down a little bit more. So there's a switch that normally goes on when people go from just a fan to wanting to be a wrestler. Did you always want to be a wrestler, or did you want to be behind the scenes, kind of like how you are now? Or did you want to be a ref or anything, or you just knew?
I mean, I think I always want to be I always want to be a wrestler. I mean, that's all I could ever, and that's all I've ever honestly been good at my whole life. So.
All right. Independence. Did your dad watch any particular show besides the Independence? Did he make
we watched WCW primarily. I mean, we also had got Smoky Mountain and USWA on WHKY 14. It's based out of Hickory, North Carolina, but they also have a transformer in Charlotte, North Carolina, where I grew up. So we got to see that. And like I said, my mentor, Mr. Chief J. Eagle, he had a TV show for years on WHKY.
Oh, did he really? That is cool.
That sounds like we had another Team WCW here.
Yeah, I was kind of trying to go past that. We always talk to our guests to see if they're a WWF kid or a WCW kid. But, I was a WWF kid, but as soon as I got into the business, I became a WCW guy because, WWF, that was, for kids. They had the superheroes and everyone had a gimmick. But once you wanted to learn how to actually wrestle, you had to start watching the NWA. You had to start watching the WCW because I think that's where the wrestlers were.
Yeah, you got to think. I'm from North Carolina. The WWF didn't really start coming here till the '90s. So.
Oh, that's kind of cool. All right, so you started wrestling. I think it was 2004.
Yeah, 2004, like my last year of high school, yeah.
So how long were you actually a wrestler?
I wrestled for about 3 years, 2-3 years, somewhere in there.
All right, and were you going to different promotions, or did you?
No, I pretty much stayed to my little home base there, and like I said, I got mentored. I learned a lot about all the grunt work and all the stuff, and I think I've just volunteered for everything. Like I said, I'd known Mr. Eagle a long time. Just like I know Mr. George South since I was about 7 years old. I just volunteered for whatever they needed to do, and that's how it's always been in my life. That's probably how I got this job. So.
Now, George South, he's still wrestling, ain't he?
George South, yeah, he just wrestled Joey Janelli in Greensboro about 3 weeks ago.
That is crazy. Bobby and Nate, I don't know if you know this, but there was a documentary out on George South, or at least his promotion, and he talks about how when Ric Flair used to come into the area, he would actually want George South. Compared to anyone else, that's who he wanted to wrestle, just because he was that good of a wrestler. And for a guy who's still continuing to wrestling, shit, that is awesome.
Yeah, George, he trained everybody's kid. He trained Richie Steamboat, Dylan Eaton, who's Bobby Eaton's son. He trained Reed Flair. He trained Cedric Alexander, who's on WWE TV right now. Tessa Blanchard. I mean, obviously, if they trust him, he's pretty damn good.
Yeah, I'd say so.
He got some of that Gary Jackson vampire blood.
Well, kind of. Gary Jackson still looks the same now. South. You can tell that he's grown old, but still a great guy. So in 2010, that's when you started going behind the desk for commentary.
Yeah, I started working for the AIWF. Because they started working with my local federation and Lexington All-Star Wrestling Alliance, and that's how I met Mr. Dean Puckett, who's the founder of the AIWF. And yeah, he's like, hey, come work some TV, come do this, and like I said, I volunteer for everything. So he's like, eventually I got to where I'm at now. I'm, more or less the co-owner of things.
So 2010, when you started becoming commentary, did you end the wrestling career or did you still do
Oh
both?
yeah. I'd been done a few years at that point already. I just had got back into it, doing some announcing and working some local promotion stuff. But yeah, I didn't gave up my entering. I'm like, yeah, it's just time not to take bumps anymore.
Yeah. Was it an injury or something that sealed the deal, or?
No, it's just I used to be a lot. I'm still a pretty big guy. I'm about 250. I got up to about 400 pounds. So you get a little too big. When I was in wrestling shape, I was about 220. So
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's definitely kind of hard to breathe in the ring when you're like 400 pounds trying to hit the ropes and everything else. I mean, I can't say much. I'm 370 pounds, so I'm almost there, but I'm still retarded enough not to give up yet. All right, so you, what was the whole thing moving from commentary to actually being executive director?
I mean, well, we were just starting our affiliate program at that time. It just started probably about a year before that. When my partner, Mr. Dean Puckett, he was on the Louis Theroux show. It's a famous program on the BBC in Britain, and so we just got to that point, and we're starting to grow. And I started taking on more tasks and promoting more shows, and just started getting us more affiliates. Like I believe at the time we had about 10 affiliates. And you got to think right now we're at 98 affiliates in 36 countries. And somebody just did a spreadsheet actually this week. And since 2013, we've had 247 AIWF affiliates.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
I mean, I love this just because it's keeping basically the territory system alive. But being the executive director, what is your job? What do you do for
Everything.
the company? Everything.
Yeah, but honestly, no, I'm just have to make sure what's going on, where our plans are things being followed. Is everybody keeping their nose clean, and plus expansion and what plans do we have for the future?
Okay. Uh, so I've got a bunch of questions about this. How do you keep track of everyone who either works for you or everyone who has a belt? Do you guys radio each other, or call each other and let you know what titles being
I mean,
defended?
social media is pretty easy to keep up with everybody, and I've been doing it so long. I'm pretty good at keeping up with everything, so I know who has what, who's pretty much active, who's having problems. I try to touch base at least monthly with all of our promotions.
So how does this affiliated system work? Do they like how the old NWA each territory they would pay into the NWA? Does all these promotions pay into the IAWF?
AIWF, no, we actually have no dues. We didn't. We had dues previously a long time ago, but it became too much of a hassle personally, and plus I don't want to impede anybody. I mean, obviously you have to have money to run pro wrestling. It's not free, but I don't charge any dues, but we do have some bylaws. We try to keep all the promotions at least 60 miles away from each other. We want people that run consistently and that show a history of running. And we also, each promotion, we try to get them, to make sure they advertise the AIWF and to make sure that they at least book some championship bouts per year. We have about 10 belts, so you have your choice. So
aside from that, what do you offer for promotions wanting to be a part of the AIWF?
yeah, that's a good question. I mean, what we offer is we offer networking. I mean, you can talk to 98 promotions in 36 countries. I don't know anywhere else where you can just like say, hey, I want to talk to this promotion, blah, blah. Number 2 is PR. I mean, the AIWF Facebook has over 20,000 followers. That's pretty damn good. And it's growing every day. And, it's about working together and networking and just making wrestling better. I mean, that's all you can do at the end of the day.
A follow-up question of that is just with talking with fans at the SICW matches, including the one yesterday, where Jim and Bobby failed to bring home the tag team belt. The fans want to know, and a couple of them asked me to ask you the logistics of it. How do you keep everybody working together with the intrinsic ego that seems to be in wrestling?
I mean, you're always going to have an ego problem, but you just have to make the best out of what you got, and you just have to communicate. I mean, being a man, you talk to other men, you act like a man, and sometimes stuff's going to get done, and sometimes it's not. And you just have to know, like Kenny Rogers said, you got to know when to hold them and know when to fold
them. That's awesome. I was kind of snooping around the internet the last couple days just to try to find more information. And I guess the company actually started in a different way. And tell me if I get this wrong, but I guess it was started as American Independent Wrestling Federation, and they actually compared it to GCW.
I mean, it was pretty bloody the first couple of years. We still have blood, but I mean, it was real bloody the first, several couple of years.
So, who was the name of the guy that owns this? Was it
Mr. Dean Puckett?
Dean Puckett. So, what changed his mind from running something like an ECW into this affiliate program?
Well, I mean, I think we had to talk to him. I mean, once it changed over to the affiliate program, we knew we couldn't do blood and guts forever, obviously. And like I said, I came in right at the very start of that. So, we still have blood. We still have blood. We're going to have blood, honestly, next weekend in Mount Airy for our deal with Steel. It's an all-cage show, probably the first cage show in the United States of America. It started back in, I believe, 1995. And it'll be a bloody night. But we try to keep the blood down. We want more variety. We want more women, more high-flying cruiserweights, more big heavyweights, brawlers. We want as Forrest Gump would say, we want the candy box. That's our goal nowadays.
That's awesome. So you guys are in Puerto Rico, Costa Rica, Canada, Portugal, Wales, England, Australia. I mean, that's awesome, but I just don't know how you guys can keep control over that whole territory system, being across the pond and everything else.
I mean, we have people locally that are in charge. I mean, I'm not going to BS you. Like you have, it's kind of like the mafia. You're going to have a Don, then you're going to have a Capo. It goes down like that. That's how it has to go.
That is awesome. So, where do you want this to go? How far do you want to take this?
I mean, I definitely think there's still room for growth as there are many more markets out there. We do have a big Asian championship tournament we're going to have scheduled by the end of the year, maybe first of next year. I just ordered the belt, and it's going to be co-hosted by Singapore Pro Wrestling, Vietnam Pro Wrestling, and Set Up Thailand, which are all premier companies in Asia that you can look up. And like that's how I like doing things right now. We're doing a lot of joint shows, a lot of promotions coming together. And TV is the big goal. We want to, I mean, SICW does a wonderful job with their studio television show, but we want to do something similar, but with, a rotating basis and have different people there and have, a TV product that's unified and moving around and preferably on a pretty good outlet. We're talking to a couple. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I've been listening to some of the. I don't know how close the podcast. There's a podcast that I've been listening to on YouTube that deals with AIWF. I don't know how close it is, but it seems like they pull in from a lot of different wrestling organizations to get their information. It seems like that might be the way to go since you got so many territories and so many promotions that you're running. I mean, it'd be great to have a TV show But I think you guys would be roaming around so often, traveling, and it'd be kind of hard to get familiar with all of your wrestlers. But it'll be a great way to try. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's the goal for the next 12 months. I mean, we'll see what happens. We'll see which way it goes. I'm talking to some Hollywood people. I mean, I can't reveal names right now, but
Sure.
some Hollywood people, and they're very interested in investing and making a go out of this property.
I mean, that sounds awesome. Do you travel a lot then?
No. I get to stay home, thankfully, most of the time now. I used to travel, Jesus, up and down the country, but now thanks to the internet, I can do most things off my phone or off my computer, and it's pretty easy.
That's cool. So how does the AIWF make money? Because it seems like for this to work, you got to have some money coming in for these new belts that you're purchasing, for your guys to be able to travel.
I mean, mostly the promotions cover the travel costs. Like the promotions that book the champions cover that. And but how we make money is on merchandise. And honestly, we're probably going to switch to a nonprofit status pretty soon, because I think that's the best way to go in the future. We haven't officially did it yet, but we're looking at going that way, because that's what most government bodies, like a FIBA, like a FIFA, they're nonprofits. So that's probably what we'll honestly do.
Do you have a website that you can shout out or something for people to buy
We're just
merchandise?
using our social media right now. Our website it's not working as well as we would like, and we haven't fooled with it as much. We fool more with social media at this point.
Okay, that sounds cool. It'd be interesting. I think this is a great way for wrestlers to socialize and try to get booked to other places, and for everyone to to be like a throwback to the NWA days. I mean, this is now that the NWA is not doing a territory system anymore, and it's just Billy's corporation basically. This is a nice way to keep that alive.
Well,
I mean, that's the goal.
I was gonna say, like, that was another thing when you said what do you guys offer. I could tell you from the heavyweight champion Greg Anthony coming into SICW, is he passes a lot of knowledge around that locker room, bringing the champions around. It gives a lot back to those locker rooms as well.
Oh yeah, Greg's a wonderful guy. He's a great champion. I mean, he's very experienced. That's why he won the belt. He outpointed Ty Tyson, who's a 350-pound man, and he won. He's already been to Chicago. He's been to over there to Illinois. He's been to Tennessee. He's been multiple places, and he's only had it a few months.
98 members, man, that's just crazy. And it's been around since 1992. So this is, I was telling, we had Greg on our podcast not too long ago, and to be a wrestler, and I didn't realize that this was actually happening and has been happening since 1992. We're basically St. Louis, so we wrestle, up in Chicago. I've dabbled a little in Tennessee, Arkansas, places like that, but I've never heard of this company, and I just think I think it's a wonderful idea, and I hope it keeps going, because I love the idea of it. Just being able to communicate with other promoters and finally get something set up. Because Herb, our promoter, has been talking about this for a long time. Not just the AIWF, but just having a territory system. He's got like 4 promoters that he really works with, and he'll send us, in a little loop to those other 3 guys or those other 4 guys. But he's always said that his dream was to have a territory system again, where everyone could be making money every single night, by traveling like the olden days. So I really hope the future is bright for this company. I mean, it sounds like you got a great head on your shoulders, and you guys are well organized. So, I mean, that's just awesome to hear.
Yeah, Herb is a wonderful promoter. Our goals definitely aligned. 3 probably out of those 4 promoters are also with us, so that did help. But I think y'all put on a wonderful show and with some wonderful talent. And I mean, like I said, it's studio wrestling done right, and that's great. Studio wrestling is a lost art that you're not seeing anymore these days. And I mean, I truly enjoy the show every week. I watch it.
Oh, so you're a fan of it, huh? You watch it?
Oh yeah, I probably watch 100 hours of wrestling a month, just within our organization.
Oh,
I
I
think
bet.
Jim and Matt just became best friends.
Uh, man, I don't every day, all day. Yep.
Yeah.
What's
So are you going to be at the Cauliflower Alley Club this month too?
I'm not, but Mr. Dean Puckett, our founder, he's going to be there. He informed me.
Okay.
I've been
Texan,
previously, but I got 3 kids at home, and that's why I like to work from home these days.
yeah.
That is nice.
So we'll
Yeah,
have to find him and buy him a beer, Texan.
yeah, that's true. Do you go to any of the big shows down there? Like, was it the Gathering was just down there, wasn't it? Down in
I've
that
been to the
area?
gathering. I've been down to the gathering. Yes, at Charlotte at the Hilton. Had a lot of legends at it. It's a good event. I just was at AEW in Greensboro on Saturday night. They gave me some wonderful floor seats. So thank you, AEW. And I enjoyed it.
That's awesome. What wrestling do you watch nowadays? Do you still just continue to watch in like your affiliated ones, or do you watch AEW or WWF or
I watch
Impact?
AEW and I enjoy it. I catch the big events of the WWE. I mean, I got to fast forward through a lot of stuff, but
That's true.
But I can't. I can tell you what's going on. I also watch a lot of Japan. I got a lot of friends in pro wrestling. Noah are there in Japan. A shout out to guys like Anthony Green, Extreme Tiger. A lot of great talents over there touring.
I'm taking notes. I don't want to look these guys up. Extreme Tiger, huh?
Yeah, Extreme Tiger used to be the Impact X Division champion. He lives in Baja, Tijuana. He's a luchador. And Anthony Green, he was on WWE. He was Augustus Gray in the WWE, but he's in one of the popular stables over there in Noah right now. He's out of Boston.
Um, eh, when you gather up, like you said, you got this Asian market that's opening up. Do you send some of your guys over there to make sure that it's up to your standards, to your par,
Oh, I
or
mean,
you
we,
just
we
kind
have
of lean on
we have
them?
some of the top promoters in those countries. I'm not worried about that one bit.
Okay.
Andrew Tang of Singapore Pro, he's like a known actor and wrestler over there. Like set up Thailand, they're huge. Like these are guys doing like thousands of people an event. They're doing big shows, and same in Korea with Pro Wrestling Society. They do about 1,000 to 2,000 people an event in Seoul, South Korea. But it helps. They got in Seoul, they have 9.1 million people. So I mean, it does help.
Man, that's crazy numbers. All right.
Yeah, they have a lot to pull from.
Yeah. Um,
Well, then you figure that all Japan wrestling and has always been
We actually
a
have partners
staple
in
of it.
Japan. We got Ring Soul there in Osaka and Kobe. It's a bar and an event. It's a small venue, but they run some good shows. We also work with 2AW, which is the former Kai Tai Dojo in Japan. And they're a wonderful group of guys.
That's
uh,
awesome. You,
go ahead.
but
No, go ahead, Nate.
I gotta say, I mean, it's opening up everywhere.
Oh yeah, I mean, like I said, I've been doing this 13 years now. So I mean, it's all networking. It's like any business. Your job is a network, and you don't know who's going to be your friend tomorrow, the next day. Someone might be your friend 5 years later, and it might work out. I mean, that's definitely happened to me at AIWF.
That's crazy. Um, how do you make money in doing this?
I
Um,
don't make money doing this.
oh, okay. So you just do it for the love of the wrestling.
Yeah, I love it. I love what I do, and I mean, it would be great if I did, but money is not my goal. I have other avenues for that. So
Oh, I mean, that's just awesome. I mean, we get together, us three, once a week and talk wrestling and bring in people. Um, but it's just water in a bucket compared to you. I mean, hell, you're living this.
I mean, I probably talk to people in probably 5 to 10 countries every day. So, I mean, I'm very blessed. I love all the relationships I've made, and I love being on this show. I love making new friends, and That's the name of the game for me. It's like Howard Brody, God bless his soul, former NWA president. He said the part he missed when he stopped wrestling was the interaction, and that's the part I love, the interaction.
Yeah. All right. So who should we be watching out for that is either your champions besides Greg Anthony, because that's the one that we know, because he's been coming up here the last couple of shows, but who out there do we need to look for?
Well, I just talked to him today. Flynn Hendricks, who's the television champion, he's based out of the Kentucky, Tennessee area. I heard he may be coming in down there. He's been very successful. He's been to the belt in Indiana, Kentucky. He's only held it a couple months now, but he's very successful. The national champion, Lou Gotti, he's out of Texas. He used to be in Ohio. He's a big, mean mamma jamma. I mean, you got to watch out for him. He's probably 6'4", about 280 right now. Like a fly.
Nice.
He moves like a man, 200 pounds. So. And then the America's champion, who just won in Oklahoma, Jack Tallow, 7 foot tall, 300 pounds, formerly of NXT. So former professional basketball player. I wouldn't want to make him mad. 7 foot, 300 pounds.
Hell yeah.
Just dive between the legs.
Is there a women's division yet? Do you have a women's champion?
Yeah, we just vacated the women's belt. Heidi Katrina had held it for 4 years. She was based out of London. She'd wrestled for Sendai Girls in Japan and been in America. But she had with COVID, and she also had a severe shoulder injury. She had to vacate the belt. We actually have a tournament we're setting up. We have a West division and an East division, and we got 4 women. We got one's been announced, Clara, who's the Mid-Atlantic women's champion. Another is signed, but I'm not going to give it away yet. She's a Midwestern talent. And we got 2 more spots we're looking at filling.
That is cool. Now, do you feel women's wrestling is right up there with men, or do because WWE, they had that women's power basically the last couple of years. It's kind of slowed down, where they were, headlining WrestleMania. They were doing their own pay-per-views. Here lately, like I said, it's kind of, they're not bringing it up as much as women power or anything like that. But how do you feel about it? Does it?
I mean, I think there's some great women wrestlers out there, and I think there's many that are on par with their male counterparts. And I believe, I'm not a fan of intergender wrestling, but I believe, there's a place for women's wrestling. And I mean, there's some wonderful talent out there, and then there's some not so great talent. I mean, it's just like the men. There's talent that sucks and talent that doesn't suck. It's what it is.
I'm glad you brought up the intergender stuff, because I can't stand that. That's there's I the old school tag, if a woman is in the ring, she faces that other woman. But as far as guy versus the girl, that should never belong. I don't think that. I mean, it never worked out here in St. Louis. Sam Mushnick, the head of the NWA, never had any of those matches going on. Matter of fact, he I guess women's wrestling was like a special treat whenever he put that on the card. Just kind of like with the midgets and stuff like that. It was like a special thing. But yeah.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I'm not saying we don't have it. I mean, I know there was an intergender match just like a week ago in the AIWF, but I personally, I don't prefer it, and it's what it is.
Yeah, I totally. I mean, if the storyline that's involving would benefit from it, more power. But if there's not if not a good storyline behind it, I don't know if it should fly.
I don't believe in hitting women. I don't like it.
Do you watch the TV show Heels?
Oh yeah. Actually, our former champion Damian Wayne is a Wild Bill's stunt double on that show.
Oh really?
Yeah.
So they I don't know if I give away the last episode, but the last episode deals with kind of intergender. The female wrestler on that show, has got the actual championship belt, and she was going to be wrestling some, all the guys, because it's all guys except for her. And I don't know, man. It's going down that the news started reporting about different sports and the domestic abuse, and so now they're like, maybe we should step away from this, you know. So it's just a touchy subject, you know.
I mean, you do have to sometimes bow to pressure from outside forces because, I mean, wrestling is dependent on sponsors and other businesses to run. And, I mean, it's what it is. But, I mean, you just have to stand by your gut sometimes as well.
All right. So what else do we need to know about you, about the company? Um, what's
Um,
the future like? What are your plans?
we do have our AIWF 32nd anniversary weekend booked for March 2nd and March 3rd in Mount Airy, North Carolina. That's where we celebrate our 32 years of business. And we also have our convention of our promoters. So all of our promoters are invited. And we just have fun for 2 days and get a little rowdy.
Really? What was that date again?
March 2nd and March 3rd in Mount Airy, North Carolina.
Is there any kind of show with that, or?
Oh, there's two shows. There's shows Saturday night and Sunday afternoon.
Nice.
That's
Uh,
awesome.
so it's basically just a big meet and greet for the promoters to get to know each other, and that's networking right there. I mean, shit.
Yeah. I mean, it's networking. It's always fun, and we do pretty good. We just had a show out there last weekend. It was with the fair, so we filled it up. Our building seats about 230 full. So the anniversary we've been doing about 150 to 200 every year. So it's been pretty nice.
I'm gonna have to talk to Herb and see about maybe a bunch of us coming down or something, and seeing if we can't
Yeah,
start.
Mount Airy is Mayberry from Andy Griffin, if you didn't know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because this is where Mr. Andy Griffin was born. So they still have a lot
Oh,
of Andy Griffin themed stuff and an Andy Griffin museum out there.
I'll bring a
okay.
fishing
So
pole.
it'll be something for Herb to go and visit then.
Yeah, we're gonna have a good time. We got a lot of stuff going on. Like I said, we got the Asian title. That's our new belt. Then we're ready to crown. We're gonna crown this ladies championship. Like I said, we got to decide our final two spots and talk to our participating promoters so far in it. And that's going to be good. The women's title. Like I said, Heidi had 4 years. We're looking to go in a new direction. Unfortunately, injury. So, she had to give it up. She had serious shoulder surgery. So
Mm.
I know they got a big TV project. My buddies in San Marino, AWF. San Marino is outside of Italy, if you didn't know. It's one of the
Okay.
smallest countries in the world. They have a new TV show debuting on San Marino TV. And our newest affiliate, Swiss Pro Wrestling, which is a conglomerate of multiple promotions in Switzerland, they have a show on Geneva TV, which runs in Switzerland and France. It's French language.
Dang, we're gonna have to put a lot of places to go visit and film at.
Man,
Yeah,
I
man,
love
other than that,
this.
we're busy.
I love this. I've taken notes, and I'm gonna look up some of these guys, look up some of these promotions. When do you think that women's tournament is going to be? Do you guys have a date or?
We don't have a hard date, but I would assume we're looking through the fall and winter because it's going to be a 3-match process. We got an Eastern and a Western finals, and then we're going to meet in a neutral site for the finals.
Okay. All right. Well, you're gonna have to keep us posted. I'm already, following you guys on Facebook. I'm starting to watch all the stuff on YouTube. You already got a fan. Now I'm just gonna try to find these other guys you were talking about, and see if I can't, go global with you guys and start watching all the
I
stuff.
mean, your lariat's strong. You can win a match. You hit that, you can win a match. I've seen you win a few that way.
That's awesome, man. I'm glad to hear it. Thanks for the feedback too. I mean, all right, man. This is great. Hopefully this spreads out to other promotions that want to. Oh, um, give us your socials just so that everyone can
Just
have them.
AIWF Wrestling on Facebook and AIWF Wrestling on Twitter. That's our main two that we're using. And you search us on YouTube, you can find all kinds of AIWF information on YouTube. YouTube is a great tool.
Oh, it is. Yeah, I mean, we definitely use it here. I use it for my personal, Big Texan and stuff. Um, but man, I just love being able at a click of a button going to watch some old 60s black and white 70s wrestling, to me, that's is like the cornerstone that you can pull moves that people have forgotten about, moves that actually legitimately hurt. and
So I've
Speaking of
watched.
black and white wrestling, I got a quick story real fast. My dad, like I said, he was a big wrestling fan. That's who got me into it. And he always told me, he's like, son, my two favorite wrestlers are Haystack Calhoun, which everybody knows who Haystack Calhoun is, and he said the Bolos. And I'm like, Dad, who the hell are the Bolos? And several years later, I found out the Bolos were the Assassins, and I'm like, Dad, why didn't you just tell me they were Assassins? He's like, in Charlotte, they weren't the Assassins, they were the Bolos. I'm like, all right, well, I wish you would have told me that a long time ago.
and we'll put the connection together. Who is your favorite wrestler, or was your favorite wrestlers?
I mean, Ric Flair is my favorite wrestler. I mean, I'm a Carolina boy. Ric Flair, he's what I think every wrestling fan of the Carolinas truly wants to be. But I mean, never meet your idols. I'll say that about the man.
Oh yeah.
He's fun, but that's what it is.
Yeah, I guess everyone has. There was a couple wrestlers that I've been in the locker rooms with, and that made it to the WWE and or TNA or Impact, and yeah, I have to say that there's some like that, but overall, I've had a very good positive rapport with a lot of them. But yeah, there is some people that you just like, damn man.
No, it's nothing bad. It's not a gimmick, folks. It's that's the real Ric Flair.
Oh yeah,
We had his
yeah.
son Reed Flair before his untimely death several times. So
Um,
Kind of,
anyone besides Ric Flair do you like?
probably outside of Ric Flair, I would say probably like a Shawn Michaels or a Stone Cold because I really grew up in that Attitude Era as well. So I mean, I enjoyed that era of wrestling.
Yeah, yeah, definitely Stone Cold. But I love the Four Horsemen. Even when they, Arn came up north with Tully and became the Brain Busters, I still think they took the southern ways up to the northern, and the Brain Busters was just a great tag team. But yeah, Barry Windham, any form of the Horsemen, really. Um, you know, you idolize those guys. You shoot, they're wearing the fine Rolexes, the Gator shoes, the expensive suits, and always talked about the limousine and jet flying and everything else. I mean, who wouldn't want to idolize those guys?
Yeah, exactly. You're exactly right.
Say Ric Flair had me cheering for all the heels.
Were you? Did you like I'm assuming since you like Ric Flair, you like the heels better than you like the baby faces back then.
Yeah, I think I identify more with the heels and the baby faces. I still think I do, but my job, I'm impartial now. I'm an executive, so I'm
Right.
impartial and I do my job, and it's
Well,
what it
we're
is.
just talking about back in the day before the executive director title.
But yeah, I
I
always enjoyed
myself
it.
I myself was a Hulk Hogan fan. I talk about it many a times. It's just really because my dad was a tool and die maker, so he swung a hammer all the time. So he had the huge arms, and we both got the same male Baldwin pattern that we can just grow the hair around the horseshoe. But his was blonde. So growing up, I always thought my father looked like Hulk Hogan. So he was always my idol. But like I said, definitely as soon as you get into the business and get involved and start researching matches and how match structures go and then I started leaning towards the NWA and the WCW and learning that way. But I love the black and white, wrestling. Anything, Gorgeous George, to Luthez. I love that stuff. I actually help teach on Tuesdays. We have a Ace Academy down here. Bob Orton Jr. is the actual head coach. And then we have different wrestlers that have different days that we come in, and that's our day to teach his students. And I tell them all the time, I said, you can do all this flippy floppy shit, but you can just pinpoint, if you can just do wrestling, catch can, you know, you can tell stories a lot easier without hurting your body a lot quicker. Um,
Oh, 100%. But I mean, I do believe you need wrestling. You can equivalent it to the circus. You need the high wire act. You need the strong man. You need the animal acts. You have to have that variety, or your fans aren't going to want to come back.
yeah, and there's a city that's close by that we hit once a year, and it's basically Latinos that live in the city, and they want the luchador style, the Mexican style type of wrestling. So we accommodate to them. So I do know that, yeah, you kind of need a diversity, but as I always tell them, you can go as a newbie, you could go into any locker room and tell them that you know the basics, or I'm actually forgetting the word, what it's called.
Chain
Uh,
wrestle.
Chain wrestle, yeah. You go into any locker room and tell them that you know how to chain wrestle, and they know that they can have a good match with you. Versus, hey, do you know this? Do you know that? Well, let's keep it simple. I can do the basics. I can chain wrestle. You can have a great match. And that's why try to tell them. But
Yeah, and you also look at like the greatest matches in history. Like look back at that storyline because like you can watch them today and you're like, I remember that match and it was amazing. But then you look at it today, you're like, it's pretty damn good, but it wasn't as good as I remember it.
yeah, yeah. A couple of matches like that. It's like, ooh, I don't remember it like that when I was younger. Well,
I don't know.
But
When I
a
watch,
lot of that comes into good booking too. Like at the time, you followed the story into that match. Going back, you're just watching that match stand alone.
Yeah.
that's true. Yeah,
when I
and
was editing Bruiser Brody and Ric Flair's championship match, no matter how many times I watched it, re-editing it over and over again, it was still just as amazing each time. It never lost any thrill
well,
because
and
they're
and
both
that's
great wrestlers. So
those two guys have worked each other in St. Louis many a times. And then that 1 hour match stands out, to everyone in this area. Bruiser Brody is kind of like the king of St. Louis. Ric Flair was too. Harley Race, of course. Um, but if you like the bad guys, you liked Bruiser Brody, and he was the
I mean,
king over here.
Bruiser definitely made his money in St. Louis and Texas, outside Japan.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, even the Von Erichs was pretty frequent up here, and even Kevin was born up here. Actually, in a small city just pretty close to me and Bobby. So it's just kind of crazy how this was such a mecca for wrestling. I mean, of course, the South was too. So, um, man, it's just great having wrestling, something that I love, you love, and it's everywhere, and we can just sit there and watch it and be admired by it. But it's awesome. Um, well, I don't want to keep you. I think we got a lot of information out of you. I think a lot of people, hopefully, you get some more wrestlers coming your way from this. Hopefully, you get some other promoters coming and trying to knock on your door and try to get affiliated with you. Um, so you said Facebook, Twitter is the main places.
Yeah, Facebook,
Uh,
Twitter, main place. Just search AIWF. You can hit me up. I'm Matt Classic on Facebook, and I'd be glad to talk to anyone and give anyone any information that they desire.
that's awesome. Uh, I do
on the
have
note,
one last question for you, and I seen it on a post on your Facebook. What was the weirdest thing that someone's ever seen in the wrestling ring in a match?
Oh, it was some wild stuff. I mean, I've seen like barbed wire. I've seen prosthetic legs. I've seen people get hit with canes from old ladies. But you can look on that status, and there was some weirder than that stuff.
Oh yeah, someone said a kitchen sink. I just can't imagine bringing a kitchen sink to wrestling shows.
Somebody said they just used an adult prophylactic with a barbed wire on it and got stuck down their mouth last week. So
What?
Well, after the show last night, I learned something I didn't know about these two when they had their their Extreme Wrestling match. That Jim used nunchucks on Bobby.
Hey, that was just a given. There has only been one hardcore match in the history of SICW, and it was me versus Bobby over here. But it was one of those where the fans bring the weapons. We put it in a trash can by the door. Of course, the trash can came back to us, and we got to handpick what we were actually going to use. Because we weren't stupid. We were going to use a baseball bat with nails, dug into them. Because the fans, they were kind of crazy on what they actually put in there.
We've had some insane fans bring the weapons matches, and I saw some insane ones. I used to go to George South and Italian Stallion show, the PWF, and they worked each other every night for like four nights a week for years.
Yeah, that's crazy.
You said you
I
weren't going to
couldn't
use
do
a
that
baseball
every
bat with
night.
nails, but you used a bowling ball.
Hey, it's a nice smooth surface. It's a lot easier than being, having a baseball bat swung on you and you got to dodge those nails.
I don't recall it feeling very good, just for the record.
All right. Well, Mr. Matt Classic, I do want to tell you that I appreciate you coming on. I know we don't know each other too much, and we are glad to have the Golden Boy, Greg Anthony, on, and he actually suggested you as well, and then I hit you up. Well, I think maybe you hit me up first, but I'm just glad that we were able to take the time and get to know you, get to know about the affiliation, and hopefully our partnership with SICW and you guys can grow, because I know Herb is promoting the hell out of you guys. Hopefully you're doing the same, and our little company
Oh
can
yeah, I
visit
make
you
sure
guys.
the TV's up every week and get all your flyers out there. And I talk to Herb probably once a week. Herb's a wonderful guy. I mean, he's very intelligent. He knows what he's doing, folks.
50 plus years in the business, he tells us all the time, there's nothing that's been past him that he doesn't know about, so, but yeah, again, just really appreciate that you taking the time with us, because I know the time frame here. We start our show at 8:30. Most of our fans know that, but it's 9:30 for you when we started, so I know it's getting late on your
Yeah.
part, but again, thank you. And until next week, guys, we don't know who our special guest will be, but I'm sure we'll get you going, and we'll throw out some sort of flyer and let you guys know who we're going to sit down and talk to.
All right. Thanks, guys. I appreciate being on, and I hope to come back. And y'all have a wonderful night.
You too,
Thank you
sir.
very much.
Thank you. And fans of SICW, next week we have the Little Doubles wrestling match fundraiser for wrestling, the cheerleaders, and football. Bobby, is there anything else, or does this go for those three?
It goes for those three, but you got Bobby D versus Sean Vincent in that cage.
Big match.
And that's right after he just screwed us out of our tag titles.
Right.
Yeah, I was hoping to get you guys going in on that one. I told you failed to bring it home, but you guys were silent.
I was just waiting for you to ask the question to Matt what you're actually going with there, but yeah, that was, because we had that match won. I hit that lariat, I got that guy down. It was just the other one, hitting me, making that count not count. Then Sean coming in, jumping Bobby. Thank God for Flanagan, because he came in with his Kindle stick and cleaned house. But I
And for
can't
people
wait
that are
for you
watching
to
this,
finish him off on Saturday.
I don't plan on him getting up after. There's
what's
a little bit more
nice?
animosity going into this one now. And it's been building with all of his social media posts.
well, he hit you with the Canadian flag, so the pole.
Definitely can't stand with that, because this is America right here.
So he has nothing going for him, because it's going to be Bobby's hometown. Bobby's the coach there. All of his students are there. I'm going to be there for him. I'm sure Flash is going to back him up. Gary Jackson, of course. So I don't know what made Sean sign on that dotted line for that contract, because that was probably the most stupidest thing that he could have done. But I'm
Arrogance.
happy to see it. I'm happy to see what happens. So,
So
Pure arrogance.
Saturday night, I'm expecting you to bring the Classics champion back and your cup, because you haven't had it.
Well, I'm going for the Central States champion. I'm not going against Texan.
Oh, that's right, Central State.
If I can get both, I guess I'll take both. But
When do you
one at a
take
time.
another?
One at a time.
I don't even know who I got this Saturday. Hopefully, hopefully it'll be a great match, regardless who I got. But I'm in the dark right now, so I don't even know.
Do you guys, has Herb said if you guys are going to get a rematch with the LA Hustlers with
We haven't
some
heard anything.
stipulations?
Yeah, I don't know. What I'm really hoping, and it's just they're a young tag team. They still hit the gym all the time. They're still showing up on Tuesdays under my guidance. I'm hoping the Top Guns will actually get a shot at them. I mean, I know Bradley is like 3 times as big as them, but
Put together.
they're driven. They're young. Um, they're trained by Bob. Of course, Bob and Tony Atlas was able to beat them. So hopefully, Bob being there every night that we go to the practice gym and teach and learn, hopefully he can hand them down some pointers. And I'm really hoping that the Top Guns get a crack at those tag
I say
straps soon.
LA Hustlers have a ton of experience and all, but it's Brandon Beretta.
Hands down, just seeing that makes you think that those titles should already be in his hands.
When we were with Tito, when we were walking up, Brandon was nervous, and I go, "What are you worried about? He already knows who you are." But also, tomorrow we have some episodes coming out. One is a short of course, Tito's night, but half the stuff I filmed with Tito, there was no audio. My fault.
Oh,
So
that's
it's
horrible.
very segmented on that part, but it features all the after bell chaos and shenanigans. It's a short, and of course, more FanFest interviews coming out. I'm in the process of editing Barry Horowitz's interview. So that will go out tomorrow at 6 a.m. The one with Bushwhacker Luke goes out.
That
And
is
that
awesome.
one, of course, is sex, drugs, and rock and roll. That's his quote.
Hey, it'll be a good thing to get those interviews out from the Fan Fest. And I say this, and not as a depressing moment, but we're losing a lot of those legends. 3, 4, 5 a year, and those interviews are going to preserve them. To the fans that probably don't know them as much right now, or needs to go back and YouTube them and find out what they did for the business. So yeah, that'd be awesome. I think those would do great. I do want to throw this out there. We're still fighting for this Rory Fox versus Matt Cardona. We need this to happen. Matt, I know you've seen the post because you've commented on them with some sort of googly eyes, but we know that you've seen them. We need to have this happen. Rory Fox needs to have that match before you go and sign back home to the WWE. Even though truly right now you're half of the women's tag team champions.
He's the first man.
Bobby, that's what
And
he says he is. He's one
one
half
half of
of
that.
half of the women's tag team champions because his wife is the tag team champion.
So
You
he's
go
a
one
quarter.
half of the half is a quarter. Just say you're the quarter of the tag.
Yeah.
No, it's more funnier how he says it though. I'm one half of one half. You know.
And Matt, if you're going to watch this, you need to know we already have the legendary James Beard said that if you agreed, he'd ref the match.
Plus, you're going to be in St. Louis here pretty soon with with the NWA coming to town. Towards the end of here of August. So you know what? We might as well just get together. That'll
Get a
be
hold
awesome.
of our
I
booking
just wanted to throw that
extraordinaire,
out
Jim.
there. What?
I said he needs to get hold of you, our booking extraordinaire.
No. Reach out to Mr. Herb Simmons on Facebook or at sicw.org. That is the booker right there. The booker, owner, promoter. He is the one that can definitely make it happen. I just like Rory Fox, and I would like to see that match. He said it's a dream match of his, and he's been begging for this match for a long time. So I know truly, eventually, Matt Cardona will sign back with the WWE. I mean, shit, Cody Rhodes signed back with the WWE, and he started a promotion. So, Matt will eventually come back home, and he's always talked about that being his home. So it's just a matter of time before the money's right and the dates are correct. Because I know he doesn't want to work, 365 days like they did in the olden days, and then the money's got to be right for him. But eventually it's going to happen. So let's get this match going um, before he does that.
Well, we've been
Also,
pushing
been
for it, so.
getting some feedback about last week's episode with Nick talking about Earl and Dave and how they got let go from WWF at the time. Um, a lot of people can't believe that they did this because of his age, plus the little stuff that happened with Nick and his store and his selling of his T-shirt. But Age, they worked for TNA for a while. Went to Impact before they actually, Earl has not even called it quits. He's still reffing. He reffed a few matches at MMWA before because I believe I was in one of them. It was me and Tony Raz, I think, versus the Lumberjacks. And Earl was our referee. So,
He reffed me and Philly Blunt.
there you go. So
That was at SICW, though.
Oh, that was at SICW. So, age is just a number. When you're that good, you don't, there's no reason to be let go about because of your age. Is what I'm trying to say. Now I can't even talk. But yeah, a lot of good feedback about that show. Like I said, trying to get Rory Fox that match.
Oh yeah, he's a
James
fellow Cowboys
Beard.
fan. I wish the best for him.
James Beard talking about the Von Erichs movie that's coming out here pretty soon. So hopefully, when that airs, we can get together and talk about that movie and maybe get James back on to talk about how he helped guide that movie because he was one of the people they talked to try to get some feedback from it. Also, let's throw this out there. Uh, think it was a year and a half ago. There was an independent movie made that Bobby, I guess, was the star of. From uh, help me out with his name. What was his name?
Ed Wheatley.
Ed Wheatley. Head Over Heels was his film that he made. He also made a coffee table book about wrestling at the Chase, but the Head Over Heels was also about wrestling at the Chase. So cool. We got to watch the premiere. Most of us wrestlers were there to watch the premiere. Bobby, of course, wasn't because he's a superstar. Of course, he was the ending credits to that movie, and you couldn't ask for a better ending credits. He was on the top rope doing his little pose, and that's how the movie ended.
I said it was an honor for sure, but Wrestling at the Chase and Sam Muchnick are the stars.
That's
Anyway,
what all
that
stars
movie,
say. Truly humble.
Anyway, that movie has got nominated for an Emmy. So that's going to be, I guess they'll find the results out here in a couple months, which that would be pretty cool if Ed wins that. Because if he does, I think there's going to be a huge party here in St. Louis or somewhere in St. Louis, and we're just going to have to celebrate. But yeah, other than that, I think Matt
Hell, I
Classic will
might
get it
even
over
have a
tonight.
drink at that one for you too.
But you got to thank Matt Classic for hopping on tonight. I know we had Greg Anthony on a couple weeks ago, and he talked well about this company. Anyone who can get the territories back going, and I hate to say the word back going because evidently they've been trying to do this since 1992, which is just amazing that. And they've got what 92 territories as he's talking about.
Well,
So
98 now.
98, 36 countries. So I mean, they're doing really well. Glad to have
Asian
him
market
on.
opening up,
Yeah,
which is a large portion of our audience, the Asian market.
I do like
and
the Eagles.
it's a good thing that he watches the SICW program on YouTube every Sunday night. He knows our product, and he's going to help promote our product. So that's even better there. So, hopefully Bobby can start touring the whole USA, jump over to Japan,
Yep.
get a little bit over in England and down to Australia. You never,
You know,
Bobby's the young one in this group, so Bobby would have the best chance of doing this.
you hear about like you just talked about it in Waterloo, Iowa, where these people recognize SICW, and some of it, unless you've been there, is like hard to believe. I guess would be the words. And then you hear someone from South Carolina here on the video say it. I tune into it every week.
Yeah. Yeah. Back in last year at the CAC, there's a lot of people from Canada that was watching the program, and one of the guys actually took us out to dinner. There was a whole group of us, and we were all going to pay our way, and nice restaurant in Vegas, and he was like, "Nope, I got you guys." So you never know who's watching and who's loving the show, um, but they're out there. So
I don't even think about that part. So when people at the shows and they're coming to watch you guys talk about it and talk about watching our show, it's nice. It's a
yeah,
surprise, but it's nice. Even a bigger surprise that somebody had a problem with me covering up my face to put out Nick's pictures.
yeah, that's true too. Yeah, someone come up to it was me and Nathan standing there together, and he's like, "Yeah, why'd you cover up yourself? You should have just had yourself out there and put his pictures at the end of the video or something." But you know how Nate is,
He's a
he
shy guy.
he, he likes the mystery of what he looks like.
I just don't want anybody to get too sick, Oh,
Just
Bobby, can you send me the pictures that you were showing me with the with the nunchucks and the bowling ball so I can put those in?
I can.
I think people want to see that. They also probably want to see you smacking Jim in the nuts with a sledgehammer.
Oh, it was a baseball bat.
I
that
thought
was
that
a
was the
crazy night because there was a person's fake leg in there. There was keyboards. There was
yeah.
frying pans. I think a crutch, a whole bunch of
Dog
different stuff.
leash.
But there was some stuff that we looked at and we're like, no. you know, you guys
What
are
stuff?
fucking sick. you
This is
know.
bonus content for the people that watch this far and for our tier system and the Discord that absolutely nobody belongs to because I still have it locked. What were the things that you guys looked at and you're like, no, we're not doing that? Because you did some pretty extreme things.
You know, it was stuff like there was something that had nails coming out of it, and we're like, fuck no, we ain't using that. You
But
know,
you did the tic tac or the tic tacs,
oh, I
push
love
No,
Tic Tacs. It
we took them,
makes my
spit them out.
breath. So thumbtacks are a little bit different. They
I
go
might have
in
brought
enough
those.
to sting you, but they don't go in far enough to cause you bodily harm. As long as you're up to date on your tetanus shot, you'll be all right. But if you get those ones with the long nails, people put in boards and like I said, in baseball bats and stuff like that, that's just stupid. Kind of like the same people that use light tubes and stuff like that. That you're just I don't even know if I don't count that as wrestling. That's just this. I hate to keep using the word crazy, but it is crazy because the stuff inside those tubes, that shit's dangerous to breathe in. Then you got the actual glass part of those tubes that can cut you very easily. Plus, once say if I were to smack Bobby over the head with it, all those pieces of glass will now go into the audience, and you got a whole bunch of different stuff that's going to come up. Are you going to get sued by the audience member? Do you need to go, have an ambulance come in case they get cut? There's so many. You're just better off just not doing it.
I read
Yeah,
that stuff in the light tubes. If it gets in your eyes, it can blind you too.
again, I was
Yeah.
going to say on the medical side, the fluorescent compound in the tubes, it will scar and burn your esophagus. And if you inhale it deeply, it will do permanent damage to, the air sacs in your lungs. And of
You know,
course, as Bobby stated, it will blind you if you get it in your eyes.
when me and Bobby first started out, we were a little bit crazier. We took any booking that we could get. Didn't matter where or how far we had to drive. Didn't matter if it was a hardcore match or if it was a regular match. If it was a tables, a
Cage match,
thumbtacks,
cage
uh,
match on a random farm.
and 100+ degree day that the ring was just full of sweat. So as soon as you walked in, you were automatically sliding before you even did a wrestling move. Um,
Speaking of
so
which, this match coming up on this next Saturday is outside on the football field, correct?
It is, but it hopefully won't be that hot. The sun's
Oh,
going to go down about a half hour into the show, according to projections. And when the sun goes down, it's supposed to drop to 70.
yeah, it's only supposed to be 87. That's pretty much normal.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So hopefully that doesn't, you know, hopefully it doesn't make people turn away because this is a great organization. It's a great organization for the kids, and that's what this is all about. You got future wrestlers right there, because most wrestlers start off as amateur wrestlers. So you could be influencing the next line of SICW superstars, besides the cheerleaders, besides the football players, so it's just a great organization. Which Belleville is losing organizations, because we lost to Corey. It's no longer. So we got to hang on to these last ones, and help support them.
Considering you have Bobby's son, which is one of the top wrestlers in the nation in his weight class, that's going to be a future WWE superstar.
That'll be nice. I wish my kids would have picked up, loving wrestling the way their father has, but one of them tried out, so I got to give him props for that. But he suffered from headaches, migraines at the time, and if you don't know how to fall back right and land properly and protect yourself, if you suffer from headaches before, you're going to suffer from a lot of headaches after. So he didn't stick with it, but he is my military kid, so I got to say I'm proud of that one. Matter of fact, he is stationed in Mississippi right now. The wife just got back from seeing him. Soon to be transferred to California, so he is definitely
Bummer.
going to see the United States for free, I guess you would say. So,
And at
um,
least you got a quiet weekend out of it with the wife gone.
but
Hey, when you're out in the ring, she is right next to me when I'm filming your guys' matches. So I have no comment because I don't want to get stabbed in the kidney.
I've seen her crazy, so I can say it.
Well,
Don't
your
worry, my
family,
wife's
so it's
crazy.
different.
Her sister, my wife, is crazy too. I'll say that too online.
I was going to say your family, so it's different.
But besides, Bobby's show is coming up. We are pretty much booked every weekend for the next 2 months. So it's going to be very crazy. We're going back to the MAC. We're going back to the Chase Park Plaza.
That's huge. That's huge.
Yes, that's going to be great. There's going to be a special guest. It's already out there on socials, so I'll just say it. Bret Hart is going to be the special guest that night. And at the MAC, I got to say one of my idols, someone that I've been following my whole life, Jake the Snake Roberts. He is probably one wrestler besides Hulk Hogan that you can say everything about him because there's so many documentaries out there about him. He's still current. He's in AEW as a manager. But you've seen all of his ups and downs, from Beyond the Mat to what was it, the Rise of Jake the Snake, or I can't remember what the DDP movie was. But yeah, you definitely, that's one guy that, yeah, and then in Dark Side of the Ring did a couple episodes about him, so everything about Jake. He's almost like a relative, but so that'll be cool. But he's going to be bringing in with him Hacksaw Jim Duggan, of course, our favorite manager, the Mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart's going to be there that night too. So that's going to be a great night. But there's a couple other shows I know I'm forgetting because one just got posted today. Fairmont City. There's going to be a show out there. I think that's next month. And the advertisement shows a cage. So I don't know if there's going to be like a string of cage matches here because we got you in a cage. That picture
Sandoble's
has
going to have a cage in September.
Sandoble's going to have a cage match. So it's going to be kind of crazy the next couple months.
We're going to see how fast we can wear that cage down. That's what it is.
Well,
No, but
and
back to Jake the Snake. Like, he is underrated for being one of the best psychological minds in the business. And like
I
you
don't
look at like he trained
underrated.
Raven, who's like right there with him.
Yeah, I don't think he's underrated because everyone knows
Everybody
that.
knows his story in the DDT, but like just like if you watch him and the way he moves about the ring, like his body language itself tells stories differently throughout the match.
Yeah. Well, he's one that I always talk about on his promos that he's not one that had to scream or yell. He can just talk slow and methodical or whatever the word is to you and
Methodical.
get you hypnotized into getting your ass in the seat to watch him wrestle. So,
Who was the wrestler? It was an A-list wrestler that he put his boa on that was supposedly scared of the snake, and then he was
Macho
freaking
Man
out.
Randy Savage.
yep.
He's
Yeah,
doing seizures in the ring and selling pretty good.
yeah, so
I remember that as a kid.
yeah, the snake actually bit Macho Man, and for that time period, just that snake coming off of the bite and having the blood trickle out of Macho Man's arm where he got bit, freaked out a whole bunch of people. And I heard it could be just a story, but I heard people were calling the cops and letting them know, hey, Macho Man, wherever it was taking place, is hurt. He got bit by a snake. You should arrest Jake the Snake for it. Crazy. But
Hell, probably
fans are.
now they would because everybody is so sensitive.
If they only knew how many snakes he went through, because he went through a lot of snakes.
Well, that was the King Cobra for that one, so
Yeah. But yeah, he talks about in all the documentaries, he talks about how he would lose them, or some unfortunately would just die, and he would have to get another one. And then, there's a
so
great story about Snake getting lost in DDP's house.
that's what I was
Uh,
about to say. YouTube that one, it's story time.
oh man, it's great. DDP was still married to Kim at the time. And Yeah, he let it go in the bathroom so it can soak in the bathtub, and he got out of the bathtub into the wall, and yeah, just freaked Kimberly out, freaked DDP out. And, matter of fact, it even freaked Jake out because, to be honest, he'll tell you that he was scared of snakes too, even though he had to deal with snakes every day. So it's kind of crazy.
That was another story time where Vince McMahon pitched him the idea, and he's like, "Absolutely not!" And then he slid the paper across with the salary number. He's like, "Okay, what are you on?"
Yeah,
Yeah,
money tends to, money's like alcohol. It takes your inhibitions and fears away.
that is true. You know, I watched this. This actually Brandon Beretta, the Top Gun, is actually the one who told me to look for it. I always loved Maven as a wrestler. He was the first winner of the Tough Enough series, and he wrestled for only about 4 years. But Brandon told me that he has a YouTube channel. No, yeah, it's YouTube channel, and he talks. He's only like 5 or 6 episodes in, so it's not a big YouTube channel. But he has one of his videos talking about how much he actually made uh, working there for 4 years, and he made almost 800. I think it was a little over $800,000 in those 4 years, and 1 year alone was over 430,000 he made in 1 year. So it's kind of crazy how much, and he breaks it down. He breaks it down like a house show versus a pay-per-view. Of course, he talks about it that wrestlers get paid differently now than they did back then, because they got a lot of royalties, anytime a DVD was sold or a wrestling figure was sold. And he talks about how the DVDs are no longer out there, because you got the network. So, they don't sell DVDs, they sell the network. But because he talks about how his royalty check went from 5,000 to like $400 once that network started. Because you can watch any episode or any pay-per-view you wanted as soon as you had the network.
And
Um,
at the time of those contracts, they didn't have any idea what digital rights were anyway, getting paid per download or per view. Now, hopefully, the wrestlers are smart enough to get those digital rights included in a royalty package.
Those are
you know,
back in the LimeWire and Napster days.
Yeah.
yeah, right. Well, I tell you, they still get royalty checks, because I had a conversation with Bob Orton, and he talks, sometimes it's a really good check each quarter, sometimes it's just a couple bucks. It all depends, because every couple years, they introduce another action figure of Bob, so that action figure might sell really good that 1 year, and he might get a really good royalty check. But then once that series goes by and they're out with another series of different other wrestlers, then his royalty check goes back down. So it, it it's cool to watch if you're a wrestler to see how the pay period was, the pay structure was back then. But again, it's totally different nowadays. Because I even talk about it how back then, you all the wrestling was, the best it could be because they were all fighting for the spot. Because your spot wasn't guaranteed. Well, nowadays the wrestlers have guaranteed paychecks. So, um, it's why kill myself for this match tonight when I'm going to make the same amount regardless. That's kind of what it could be nowadays because that's how they get paid nowadays. It's guaranteed. But back then, it was almost like the UFC type of pay scale. How Dana White gives you extra money if you had a really fucking cool knockout or, a fast fucking win. You got those bonuses. Well, they used to get those bonuses too back in the day. So, and of course, they don't do that. All right. I think that's all the time I have to talk because I'm getting tired and I can feel my eyes starting wanting to close. Um,
I have
it's
some more
been,
editing to do to put some more episodes out. 3 out tomorrow, so look out for those. I already posted a little bit of the first one on Instagram,
Yeah,
but
I
the
can
other
see
one
that.
started 6 will come out. And then,
Hey, you planning on being there Saturday? Because I got some ideas up here. Give you
yeah,
some good
I'm going to be
clips.
there Saturday.
All right. I think I'm gonna make that Canadian pay pretty good.
Wow, that's awesome. All right.
I'm a hope.
Like always, if you like the content, if you could help us out, please like, subscribe, share, comment. Let us know if we're really crappy and you don't want to see us anymore, or if we're really great and you have an idea for an episode, or you want us to try to interview someone in particular, or if you just want to give us a shout out. Like I said, please like, subscribe, and share. That's all we ask, and we'll keep trying to do this on a weekly basis for you guys. And we're trying to find ways to get more people interested in talking to people about certain subjects that might be taboo, kind of like the Earl Hebner and Dave Hebner situation. We're going to try to bring you some behind the scenes stuff like that. But I guess for the Big Texan and the Squared Ring podcast, I'm out.
See you
Adios.
guys.